So do we think these religions sort of have evolved that way because the larger society is so accepting, and so they wanted to sort of appeal to people who would be marginalized from the mainstream anyway, or is it sort of
actually?
Okay, interesting.
Because if when the slaves were back in slave days, they didn't have much power at all. And again,
Right.
You talk about early Christianity, where when you're very oppressed and you're very small, you take what you can get. So if you have this, it's just you and the other people on the sugar plantation in Haiti,
Mm-hmm.
And you cannot fight amongst yourselves. You cannot divide yourselves. So you just take everyone in, and everyone becomes part of the team, because what's bigger than your sexuality is this real tough struggle you're all in, and you're all in the same position. You're all in the same chains. You're all out there in the fields. And that kind of struggle supersedes the idea of, oh, but you kind of like these kind of people. You're sexually attracted to these people. So it was just the solidarity of, this is who we are,
Okay.
and being accepted.
So it sort of became inclusive because they couldn't afford not to be inclusive, is what you're saying.
It definitely amplified. And even if you go back further, because these religions came from sub-Saharan Africa,
Mm-hmm.
it was totally okay in sub-Saharan Africa. I mean, these queer deities, this invocation of selves, it was absolutely 100% okay. So it starts off as being okay, in Africa. It gets transported across the Atlantic and
Right.
here, and you have these small people who's like, look, we have this shared history of our past. We're in it together. It's just us against the man. Why are we fighting amongst ourselves?
Right. Survival is much more important.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Right. Especially during a time when you had to work all day to feed yourself. Now I always make this comparison to say that money is screwed up because, back then one man would work all day to feed himself and his family would work all day to feed themselves. And now one man makes enough milk for 5,000 people. Why are we working all day, toiling all day in a world where that's supposed to be alleviated by technology? But back then you had to work all day to take care of yourself, and you had to work as a group to survive. And so I totally get what you're saying. It's like you have no choice. It's band together or die.
Oh, yeah. Again, and even amplify that, back in the, the Caribbean, where you're not even harvesting your own food. You're harvesting sugar for back in Europe.
Yeah, that's true. Right.
So it's like
double backbreaking. You're surviving and you're paying for their luxuries.
Yeah, it's really tricky. And the probably the most controversial thing about the survival topic in queerness is that, why does it even exist at all? I mean, shouldn't it be evolutionary? What purpose does it serve? You can't, naturally reproduce. How does it keep happening? And that's the argument that a lot of some religions have, where it is not natural because it serves no evolutionary purpose. And the argument against that is, well, it has to, because it keeps popping up. Otherwise, it wouldn't exist at all. It would have been just wiped by the roadside genetically. And it's one of those things where, and it's done in every religion, even in the pagan queer community, where is this natural or is it not natural? Because when you have the very earth-based religions, where everything is based on nature, based on the holiness of how the world naturally is, the argument of, is this natural? And it's really strange when you talk about queerness to be natural, because you run into that whole argument, and it's just like,
well, I would say by that argument, even asking if it's natural is unnatural.
Welcome to the radio, Wasteland. Hello, my darling. Welcome to